I'm rolling with the boys now, and it feels like I'm back to being myself again. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to the season. I'm looking forward to. I mean, I think this is the most excited I've been for OTAs in my life. This is the biggest hiatus I've had without playing ball. So I'm pumped.
We talk about windows opening and closing in the NFL. The Lions have had a really strong 2-year run, Colin.
Yeah.
Can they extend it, or do you think that window's closed, losing Ben Johnson?
Well, they've already paid Penei Sewell, Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown. They've got key players paid. They are not paying Hutchinson yet. They have mostly been an offensive franchise. So if you're arguing, here's what I would say Detroit's done. They have figured out, Kansas City's done this, the Rams have figured this out. If you're going to pay players in this league, pay the offensive players. Keep your defense young and inexpensive. And defensive players statistically get hurt more, so you want guys that are young and recover faster. So I think Detroit spent their money on offense, and I agree with it. They have struggled on cornerback a little bit, drafting it. That's been the kind of the miss for them. Everybody has one. But I think overall, anytime I think you have a top 3 offensive line and a top 5 front office drafting, you're not going anywhere.
So, unfortunately, I'm looking at the schedule for the Lions, Colin. A lot of outdoor games early. These are 3 of the quarterbacks they have to face before Halloween, okay? Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and Patrick Mahomes, all of them on the road. And that's for a defense, Detroit's, which, I mean, got shredded at home in the playoffs by Jaden Daniels. I think they gave up 45 points.
If you're going to beat great quarterbacks, the one thing that helps you is an offensive line that you can play keep away, and Detroit's is second best in the league. The second thing that helps you is an elite pass rusher, Aiden Hutchinson. Detroit's actually built to beat really good quarterbacks. Doesn't mean they're going to, but they're built. They've got a pass rush, and they've got a formidable O-line and the best running back combination in the league to keep the ball away from your stars. So I think they're fine.
I mean, they're coming out of the gate facing a lot of teams that were in the playoffs last year, Colin. You know, you know the narratives. If the offense just pulls back a little and the defense pulls back a little, wait a minute, they're 4-4.
I see a lot of wins. That's what I see. Baltimore's a loss. The rest of them are wins.
Okay, let's talk about this. Listen, talk about the window closing. I get a little exhausted by this whole window opening and closing because you're either a greatly run team or you're not. And if you're a greatly run team, then the window will always be open. It's just going to change over the years, right? Like there is not like, oh, the window is open, now it's closed, and now you're going to, hope that it's going to open again years from now, a decade from now, like whatever it is. Things are always kind of recycling. And as long as you're making great decisions, could it be that the Lions have a better chance to win the Super Bowl in 23, a less chance in 24, a less chance in 25, but then a great chance in 26? Like, yeah. So it's just like, time is just kind of constantly moving. Like, and everything is always changing. So it's not just like, oh, they had the Super Bowl window. Could you make the argument that their best chance, if we're looking at it on like a 5-year timeline of, going back from 21 to 26 or something, that last year or the year before was their best chance out of that section of time to win the Super Bowl? Yeah, you could absolutely make that argument. That 23 within the last with the last 3 years and then now the next 2 years or something, or the next year, that let's just go from up to this year, that 23 was without a doubt their best chance to win a Super Bowl, and they didn't. But it doesn't mean that they now missed their opportunity, or that the window is closed. It was just they had the best chance of that year. It didn't work out for them. Okay, now you move forward. Now you try to hit that peak again, and I don't even think it needs to be this coming year. I'm always looking at teams on like a 1 to 2 to 3 year window, 2 to 3 year window, and it's like, what do you got now for over these next couple of years? And I always use the Eagles as the reference point, especially because they pulled it off and won the Super Bowl. It was 22. Had an amazing chance, an elite chance to win the Super Bowl. They came up short. 23, they obviously did not win the Super Bowl, and quite frankly, weren't even close. And you can say, oh, their window closed. They ruined it. They lost their coordinators, et cetera, et cetera. Then they made concrete decisions. They improved their roster. They got better coaching. Boom, 24, 25, Super Bowl. So it's just one of those things that when you're a well-run franchise this window is always kind of just move, like it's just kind of moving. It's in motion with everything else. And I mean, yeah, I mean it's up to them to make sure that they hired the right coaching staff, but like again, this roster is great enough where even if they hired the two worst coaches they could have ever hired, the team would still be good enough, especially with Dan Campbell at the helm. This team would still be good enough to still win 9, 10, 11 games or something. Like they would still find ways to win these games. And again, I'm not saying that they hired the worst coach. I'm just saying in a doomsday scenario where they just hired two coaches who are just like, oh my God, we got to fire both of them by week 15 or something. Like they're still going to come away with wins because they're still that good of a roster. Now, I'm on the record saying again and again and again that I think coaching is wildly important. And I think it's fair to think that the Lions, could take a legitimate step back. But I'm also very firm in saying that doesn't mean that they're now falling to a 4-win team or something like that. Like they're suddenly going to turn into the Cleveland Browns or the Carolina Panthers. Like, not saying that by any stretch of the imagination. But I do think like J-Mac's like, oh, they're playing. Like, look at the quarterbacks they're playing. The Baltimore Ravens, the Bengals, Joe Burrow. They're playing Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and Patrick Mahomes. Like, what are they going to do? And it's like, well, if they're a great team, if they're just a really, really, really good team, let's say they're not an elite team and they're not even a great team. They're just a really, really, really good team. Because I can't see them being less than that. But let's just say at a minimum, they're just a really, really, really good team. Okay, so let's just say they lose to the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Bills. I'm all over the place right now. They lose to the Ravens, the Bengals, and the Chiefs. Okay, that's 3 losses. But they beat the Packers, they beat the Bears, they beat the Browns, they beat the Bucks, they beat the Vikings. Like, okay, like you're in business. Like you can still lose to some of these, special quarterbacks, special teams, whatever these teams end up being. We don't really know what the Bengals are going to look like. Everyone's kind of like going back and forth. Are the Chiefs great again? Are they not great? Are they going to collapse? Who are they? And that's why it's also really funny. This is where, and I just called out J-Mac in an earlier segment, ironically talking about the Bears. I don't know if it was J-Mac. I think I called out Colin for this actually, but now I can call out J-Mac for it. J-Mac thinks that the Chiefs aren't even going to make the playoffs. He thinks that the Chiefs are not even going to make the playoffs and that they could be like an 8-9 win team. And now when he wants to talk about the Lions struggling, he's like, oh, the Chiefs. And it's like, well, which is it? If you don't think the Chiefs are going to be that good, then why would the Lions not be able to get after them then? Like, why would the Lions not be able to pull it? Unless you think both of these teams are just falling off a cliff. And that's a valid take if that's what you believe. And then to a degree you are, I suppose at least you're being consistent. But like, I don't know. Like, if you believe that both of these teams are really going to be hurt and take a step back, I think it would be fair to say that you would say that the Chiefs have a better coaching staff. I think that's fair. Andy Reid, Spags, they've earned that right. Patrick Mahomes, better quarterback, earned that right. But if we're just looking at the roster as a whole, like the Lions rosters, I mean, like it's clearly a better roster. So I don't know. Again, it is a coaching league, so you can make the argument, well, you know what? Andy Reid and Mahomes will pull that off. But like my point really is like it's not even if you believe all that, it's not an automatic loss. It's not like they can lose all these games and now they're going to be 3-3 or something. Like it's just you're making too many assumptions at that point. And when you keep making assumptions, you sometimes can get it just pretty far from the truth. You can just get pretty far from reality when you have to keep taking a step. You make one assumption, which takes you this step, and then you now need to make another assumption, which takes you to the next step. Like it's okay to make one assumption, and then now you kind of assess the situation, and then you can do it as accurately as you can. But if you just keep making assumption after assumption after assumption after assumption, you're just like, well, now you reach the point where you're like, well, now we're just making stuff up. You're just now like, well, I don't know. And, you just get far from reality. So I see a lot of wins here. I definitely see losses too. No doubt about it. But like, if we just go through the easy wins, like they're there, easy wins. And like, I just kind of bake into this, like you split the division. I do this for a bunch of teams, and it's just more of just kind of like, if I think you're a good team, I think anything less than winning at least 3 games feels kind of crazy to me, but like I'm also just because I think you're a great team doesn't mean I'm automatically going to be like, well, you're going to go 6-0 in the division. Like I'm not going to go that far either. So I just think like 3-3 is at least like a decent enough floor, but also recognize like it could easily be 4-2, 5-1. Again, 2-4 or less would be like, well, then you're probably just not going to be a good team necessarily, or you're a wildly inconsistent team. And so then you can pull you can rip off the wins, right? You can see them on the Giants, the Cowboys, the Steelers, like, they're all there. But I think this season will be a tougher season since the Lions have become truly a legitimate top team in the NFL. I do believe this will be their toughest season that we've seen, and I do think they will look the least dominant than they have in the past, but I think that's 100% okay because I think the Lions need to evolve, and quite frankly, them looking dominant ultimately did not lead them to win a Super Bowl, quite frankly. And there's plenty of teams over the years that have looked dominant, looked electric, running up the score, looked unstoppable, only to be very much stoppable. And I think the next evolution of this Lions team needs to be, how do we win these close back and forth games? How do we win these games that are both built upon smart play calling, hard work, relentless effort, strategy? Like it just needs to be a combination of all of these things. And I think the Lions they were in the process of kind of learning that. And they had some bad luck along the way with injuries and whatnot. And so then they had to kind of rely on other aspects to overcome that, which didn't work out for them. But I am excited to see how this team evolves. I think they're going to run the ball significantly more. I do believe. I think they're going to be, rely on Jared Goff a little bit less. I do predict that Jared Goff will take a step back without Ben Johnson. That I'm pretty comfortable with that prediction, honestly. Again, not saying that he's going to now become like a bottom 5 quarterback, but I think Jared Goff has been special over these last couple of years with Ben Johnson. I don't see him being as special, but he's still a leader. He's still an awesome quarterback, and he still knows how to get the job done. But I think there's just going to be a greater reliance on the run game, which I think would bode well for the Detroit Lions. So I'm excited to see the evolution of this team. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Detroit Lions? Do you think they're going to take a big step back? Do you think they could start off the season with a lot of losses, according to JMac? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.